Hi, I'm Kristin Clark, and I'm here today with Cara Nance, and we're talking about energizing your career through strengths. Cara, how are you doing today?
I am fantastic, as I seem to be almost every Monday, because I get to hang out with you. How are you doing, Kristen?
I'm doing awesome, and I got to tell you this strength is that we're going to talk about today. Communication is the one that I have so much jealousy around. I so wish I was good at communication. But let's talk a little bit about what that means.
Okay.
And I will give you the proper definition from Gallup on communication. And every week when I'm looking down and reading it directly off,
Mhm.
that would I would tell you be like one indicator of the fact that I'm low in communication because I can't remember it. I can't like eloquently just throw it out there and sound good. So I'm going to give you the official definition of communication. It's people who are especially talented in the communication theme generally find it easy to put their thoughts into words. They're good conversationalists and presenters. Now, this is number 18 for me. It's number 2 for you.
Number 2, it is.
And big jellies on that one.
Yeah, I have found that I didn't realize how much of a gift it was until the years when I'm 43 now. It took a while and a few different life experiences to realize, like, oh, not everybody is able to do what I do, and that's okay. Like that, hence balancing our teams out with strengths, making sure that we've got a little bit of everything, right? So we all help each other out. So, and then the visual that I came up with was an orator. I think about Nelson Mandela and Barack Obama and Winston Churchill, like just those humans who are able to just capture you instantly. That's who I think of.
I think too of like your stand-up comics. I mean, who has a better grasp of the of communication than a comedian, right?
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I was actually hanging out with one on Saturday night, and it was like, wow, you're not even on, and you're on right now. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So communication. How then do you see communication showing up in work? What would be your examples?
So from personal experience, again, that's where I'll sit in that comfort zone for this go around. And really, it's the continued me realizing after a continued experience of people. My nickname is CC. Nobody ever got Cara in the '80s, so I made it up in 3rd grade and just stuck. So in different work settings, people saying like, "Hey, could you CC this up?" And I realized after it took a couple of years to realize what they're saying is not that I can proofread. Yes, I know where to put the period and semicolon, but it's my way with words and how I structure it to get the point across in the way that I do. So that would be my example. How about for you?
Yeah, so for me, running marketing departments for years and years, I had people that were content writers. I had copywriters that I would reach out to. And I always knew I was like, even on presentations or things that maybe were not in marketing, I'd be like, gosh, can you just make this sound better for me? I know what I want to say, but I just can't get there. And they were always just really helpful for me. And I'll tell you, Cara, the thing that I probably noticed most is not only were they able to just take this really long sentence and crunch it down and make it tight for me, but also, different thoughts on, hey, do you have a story that you can put around this? Or give me a visual. They were really good about saying, what does that look like to you, Kristin? And that always helped.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what, you're offering in some insight right now that I hadn't put together. My dad was advertising and PR guy after his 21 years of Army. In fact, he did PR in the Army as well. And I always thought my gift of being able to do that was because my dad was in marketing, old Goldie and Mather, and then like the whole gamut. But you're helping me realize that it's also part of my communication theme high, where it's just part of who I am. It's in my DNA, but
Yes.
literally and figuratively. So
it's a natural gift. And then of course that outside influence definitely helps. But you think about it. I hear people say that all the time in coaching. They're like, yeah, I got that from my mom or I got that from my dad. I'm like, No, you really didn't. You have that, and they might have, nurtured that a little bit, but at your core, you did have that natural talent.
Right, right, yeah, which speaks to the Gallup, the insights, right? That it's about the maximizing with the time. That then it becomes the strength, like having the opportunities with the skills. It's not just the raw talent, like that's where it starts, but then to
Yep.
help nurture it, yeah, absolutely. Um,
Yeah.
how about for you with ways that we can volunteer?
Yeah. So for people that are high in communication, to me, ways that you could volunteer are if you enjoy communicating through writing, would be to offer up that writing skill. And then the other thing I thought about was helping to coach other people. So in my years as running marketing departments, I had to do things like get up and speak at conventions and conferences, and to the salespeople. Getting some coaching from somebody that's high in communication on ways to make that your speaking more powerful, especially when you're having to do it in front of groups. And then the last thing I'd say is if you're working on a team effort, you be the one to raise your hand and say, let me do the presentation to the big group, if that makes sense in your organization.
Right, right. Yeah, and I had a similar thought that if there's a huge an organizational change, so or a community update, whatever major change is about to happen, to volunteer your gift and being able to. I have found that those with communication theme high are able to soften the blow a bit because we're able to really speak to the brain science, and that the brain really does only understand pictures. And communication theme high are really able to offer up the picture to help make sense of the message that is being expressed. So our human selves can be able to handle that shift a little bit better when it comes from somebody with communication theme high who's either been able to say it like you're saying, like volunteer to actually offer up the message, or at least have a part in crafting the message. Like if you're not the person to actually be up there, because I'm with you, like sometimes it doesn't make sense for somebody when it should be this other human, but to be a part of the process. If you're able to tap into that, that'd be great.
Yes, absolutely. Because I can tell you, yeah, I'm a lot more straightforward. Here's what the message is. And you're right, to be able to just smooth those edges a little bit is always good, especially on tougher situations.
Right,
Yeah,
right, yeah,
I love that.
absolutely.
Yeah. So of course, the reason why we do this every week is we want you to be able to use your natural talents in your work and really just love what you do, you know? And Cara, you speak so eloquently, of course, about that. Anything you want to add to that?
Just that we, you know, I'm while I'm doing my coaching, I'm also bartending a bit here and there. And I gotta be honest, now that more of our populations are fully vaccinated and coming back out, I'm hearing a lot more from the human experience day in and day out from industries across the board, where I'm hearing these consistent stories of like, man, the way we're working, it's almost painful. And that's what I want to leave with all of you friends, that it doesn't have to be painful. You could actually enjoy your day in and day out across industries. And the way to start that journey is with coaches like ourselves, and really diving into CliftonStrengths and creating that culture of strengths. So
Right. And for
here's
you to
hope.
really understand what you love to do and what your natural talents are, so you can pick and choose to do those every day.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome.
All right, my friend. We'll see you next time.
Okay.
Appreciate you.
Bye.